Good morning. This is Janice Baylor from Rue de Fleurs. Welcome back into my channel. Today we are actually going to be setting up my very new vintage booth and vintage and handmade booth that I'm opening at a local antiques mall. And if you would like to watch me struggle to set up a retail space, that is what today's video is about. I decided to do this just to, I don't know, branch out a little bit, kind of explore a different part of my creativity. Here's what I started with. I chose an upstairs open space, and I chose it because it was fairly well lit. It was available, and it had all of that lattice to hang my artwork on. And then my family came on the very first day and helped me sort of like clean and set up the space. I have a few displays from doing various shows over the year, so I'm just going to repurpose those for now. I would maybe like to get into having a little bit of furniture available to sell as well, but you just have to begin at the beginning. So day one was really just about setting up the bare bones of everything. So I had a display, and my daughter worked on the signboard where I can add different notices and whatever of sales. And that was really nice of them to come and help me. And then I went back a couple of days later by myself, and I started hanging up all my goods for sale. Of course, it's going to feature my handmade quilts, and I sort of plan to follow Lost and Found Vintage's ideas of creating like a seasonal regular retail look for your booth. So she has a really good list of categories, and I have this nice spreadsheet that I created, and I'm sort of slotting all of the different things that I have into like that sort of seasonal rotation idea, right? So since I'm setting up here at the end of February for a March open, so it will be open at the time that you are able to see this video, and I'll be sure to share the address. There's also, the address is on the little title card. I'm in the upstairs section, like I mentioned, and my items will all be like kind of a seasonal rotation, so I'm not going to specifically make stuff just for the booth. It's more like another place to sell things that I am just making because I want to make them. And I have a lot of stock in my booth, and I think it's hard for people to buy quilts at like one-day sales because it's a commitment, right? Like, they're not inexpensive items. They're all handmade. I like to use quality fabric. So that's, it's a commitment for people to decide if they want to invest in some of the pieces that I have. So I'm hoping that the handmade booth will allow people to think about things and return over and over again to somewhere where they can touch and feel and get inspired. I'm also going to have some of my patterns and kits for sale. And that's what I'm doing right there, is putting those together. And then I have samples and examples of a lot of the stuff that I make, as you know. I'm going to keep my Etsy shop, so everything will always be available there. This is just an addition. And then I also feel like it will give me the chance to add in other things that I like to do that I don't necessarily want to sell in my Etsy shop. So I enjoy making all kinds of like little craft and home decor items, but I don't necessarily want to sell them in Etsy. I've tried that before, and it's just a nightmare to ship them to people. So I think here I can have a place for that as well. My daughter is also making some artwork for my booth to help pay for all of her musical and theater camps that she likes to go on, as well as my friend who is also an artist, and she does linograph stamping projects, and so she'll be able to stamp and then sell some of her things, which is this cards that I'm setting up here are all like hand cut stamps that then she uses to make her items. So she has cards and tote bags and tea towels that will be a really nice addition to my booth, I think. And so I'm going to have that, and then some vintage things that I've collected over the years. I really love to go treasure hunting, but I don't need everything that I find, even though I like it and I want to save it. So I think it's a nice way to be able to share some of that just kind of like look with people, and capture a little bit of that, as well as my style to mix in old and new and handmade. I also have like pouches that I have up here, and all kinds of little goodies. So I hope that you will be inspired and go check that out. But excuse me, I think I lost my train of thought. But back to the seasonality thing. So all of the stuff for the spring is very colorful and bright. And I have that flock party bird quilt that I hung up. I think that's really fun. I have a focus, of course, on flowers. I have these couple of little gardening books that I've read that I thought somebody else might want. Pass along, and you can go and buy those. These cute little tulip teacup things, little display trinket cups, and then a whole bunch of selection of my patterns that I'm putting out. This fun pillow that I made a while ago. It's got this cool applique detail on it. Just really fun, all kinds of assortment of different things. I have these dried flowers that I grew in my garden last year. They're eucalyptus sprigs. I plan to dry more florals this year, I think, for the booth. I think that'll be a really fun thing to be able to sprinkle in as well. Just little collected and dried flowers. I love to do that. But again, that would be like a nightmare to do for Etsy just because they're sort of fragile, and shipping is just really not fun for that. So it was a lot of faffing about, as you can see, on these days, but I did have fun with it. I'm not somebody maybe that is super strong with the styling, but I think it'll be fun to practice and try to get better at it and really take a focus on the merchandising. But there is a lot of like moving around, standing back, staring at things. No, that's not right. Move it somewhere else, etc. So you can see the flock party quilt there. I also have the X mark quilt, which I really, really love. A selection of pillows, this little fun fanny pack that you can tie around your waist. All sorts of table runners that I'm going to put out on that nice big table my husband set up for me. I also have that vintage rocking chair. You can kind of just barely see the top of it. This old suitcase that I used to store items in, but it just doesn't really work for me anymore. But it is like a proper vintage from the 50s or 60s. So that's really fun. Maybe it would work for you. I also have like a butter dish that I've had for a long time. And just stuff that doesn't really work for me anymore, but it is so cute and collectible. But I can't keep everything. And isn't it nice to pass along things to other people and inspire them whenever you need to move on? So just kind of in that spirit. I have also, you can see the butterfly and moth hair clips there, which I think are really fun. I also have these large throws of the Minky, these field and notebook and wildflower throws. It's similar to the colors there that are in the X mark. So I thought all of that stuff went really nicely together. It's very spring. It's like pastel with a pop of brighter colors, which is really gorgeous for the season. If you want to make your own version of these Minky blankets, my last video series was just about how to do them yourself. I also have some of these really cute like scrap fabric embroidery hoops. They have little sentiments on them. They're just darling to hang up as part of like a little gallery wall area. And the plant lady pillow that's there on the chair. I have these vintage folding chairs. They're called the Leg-O-Matics. They're from the 70s. They're really fun. We had them in our basement for a long time set up. I got them at some yard sale a while back. But I think they'll be better suited for someone else's house. And finally, here is the reveal. So you can see my notice board there, which I plan to put on like coupons and different things. My daughter's art is hanging up. I have a few plants in there, my dried florals, all of the quilts along the back. I think they hang up really nicely and you can see them. I have one of those little bunnies left, a couple of little Lion Pal, little toys for kids. There's all of the butterfly and moth clips that I made last spring. They go really pretty in your hair. There's the little embroidery hoops with sentiments. And this is the left side wall. There's Flock Party with all the fun bird blocks. and the wildflower minkies. That swirl is just divine. It is the softest thing. If you love something soft and snuggly, that swirly minky is fabulous. I have a little baby quilt there and that rocking chair. There are the folding chairs and the pillow and a couple of different like gingham style quilts. Some seasonal items there on the table, and all of my springtime quilts, that Heather Ross one of a kind print, out of print fabric is just amazing. And I don't think that shows that well folded up, so I love having a space to hang it. Here are my dried eucalyptus bundles and my friends, some of my friends' little stamped tea towels. If you like making your own things, again, I offer some quilt patterns and kits. So here is the bear paw quilt kit. I have a couple of old prints and that fun applique pillow I think looks really nice with that. Here are some more of the patterns. I just took in a selection of the patterns that I offer online and printed them out. So there are the full patterns there with all of the diagrams and instructions and a sample. I have that hand embroidery I did a few weeks back. There are the kitchen towels that my friend stamps with hand-cut stamps that she makes. And she has a selection of tote bags as well. And I believe they're printed on like a recycled fabric, which is really awesome, very sustainable. I have a couple of mixed media hoops there. And here are her chicken cards that go along with that. Just really fun place to write cute little notes to people. I also have a selection of my zip pouches that I think went well with the color scheme this time. Here are my daughter's pieces of artwork. She did a little Easter bunny and some spring florals, and then I have a couple of plants for sale as well. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you feel inspired and that you enjoyed watching me set up my booth. Hopefully this will be a fun new adventure for me and a great way to display different things. Again, I plan to rotate it seasonally, so right now it's set up for spring and early summer, and then I'll probably go back in towards May and set up for the summer season, and I plan to focus a little bit more on bolder colors for the summer and some red, white, and blue things for the American celebration of 4th of July. But I think there'll always be quilts as a staple, and there'll always be those sewn home goods and some art and some vintage. So I hope you'll come out and join me. Thanks again. Please like and subscribe for future.